Hi guys, this is Nikki Rowland and today I am designing a layout for Shimmerz Paints. Today I am I'm going to colour in a whole sheet of cardstock, well it's not quite a whole sheet, nearly, with colour directly from the bottles. So I'm going for 4 different shades of blue and I'm literally dipping my paintbrush in and I'm covering the whole of the top of that sheet with my first colour, which is Jeni B Blue. I've then you need to use Vibez Frostbite, and I'm using that with just taking it directly out of the bottle and using a paintbrush to do that. So literally just pulling the colour directly out of the bottle with my paintbrush, dipping my paintbrush into the bottle and then painting along in wide strips. I'm going to try and blend the colours in as well, but I will do my best to do that, but I haven't done that yet. I'm going to do that in a bit. I will now going to use, oh there we go, I'm doing it now. So I've dipped my paintbrush in some water and I'm just blending the colours together ever so slightly. I am now going to use a darker colour. Now this is, the third one, sorry, was Vibez Deep Blue Sea, and this fourth one I wanted it as dark as I could get it, and I've gone for Inklingz Steely Blue Eyes, which is a really, really lovely, rich, deep dark navy. Yeah, this is a great colour to use for this. Okay, so that is my my first part done, really. So I now need to let it dry, and I want to get some splatters onto here as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that at this point. Because my top part has already started to dry a bit, I can now add the splatters at the top part. I've taken it directly from the bottle again, just using the droppers to splatter some splatters in place, and I'm going over kind of colour on colour. Oh, I decided that the dropper wasn't good enough, so I've used my paintbrush. I have more control sometimes with the paintbrushes. And now I'm just going in with the third colour, so that's the Deep Blue Sea. Sorry, I'm doing it upside down now, so that's just extra confusing. And now going in for the darkest one. So I didn't think my darkest one was dry enough at this point, but it seems to be sitting on top really nicely rather than bleeding in. So it was obviously dry enough. So it does only take a few seconds to dry it slightly, so that you can then add the splatters and they sit on top rather than blend in. So that worked well actually. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside to dry. I may need to get my heat tool out at some point, but right now I'm just going to leave it to one side because I have some fussy cutting to do. So today I'm using the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Legendary Collection, and I just love this giant medallion. I've had it in my stash for a couple of months now, and I haven't got around to using it. I keep looking at it and thinking, oh, I love that, definitely crying to be cut out, but I've looked at it a few times and just not done it. So today is the day, and I'm just using my scissors to fussy cut around the edge of that medallion. It's actually very simple to cut out because it's just a kind of pinked or zigzag design around the edge, so very simple, lots of triangles. So I'm just spending a bit of time cutting that out and getting that done. By the way guys, full disclosure, unfortunately I've lost a bit of video footage at the end of the video. I have a new software to record my videos on, and there's been a few teething problems and it cuts out if my battery life goes below a certain level, so I now have to make sure that my phone is plugged in at all times, otherwise it just cuts out, which has caught me out twice now unfortunately. So this video is one of those. You don't miss too much, just putting together the layout at the end, putting a final finishing touches on, so apologies for that in advance. But you have seen all the mixed media stuff, which is probably the most important part of this video, so yeah, sorry about that. And I need to get a better charger because my sometimes the one that I plug into my phone while I'm filming just disconnects itself randomly, so I'll have to find a new one of those as well. Honestly, you sort one problem out and then you get 6 more. Anyway, right, so what I'm doing now is I'm cutting my piece of mixed media into strips. I've roughly gone with the colour areas, although I have actually overlapped in some places, and then I'm cutting them into so they're 2 inches by 2 inches. That's I'm cut them into 2-inch strips with, and then I'm cutting them 2 inches across as well, and that is because I want to cut my letters by hand, and I figured that it's best to have a starting square that are all the same size. Some of them end up thinner than others, but if I start with them all at the same size, then that gives me a starting point and it's kind of a template to work with. Yeah, I've just literally cutting them by hand. We all know what alphabet letters look like, so they're not too hard to do. I did totally mess up the R, which you'll see me get wrong in a minute, but other than that, letters are actually really quite easy to cut out in this kind of chunky font, as long as you're not too worried about them looking amazing or perfect, and the whole point of cutting out hand cut letters is so that they're not perfect. So I'm happy with the way they turned out. Definitely, I love the look. It's something a bit different to do with your mixed media. Rather than create a background, this time I've created a title with my mixed media on instead. So you can see those letters have all gone quite well, even the N, which is slightly more complicated than others, and then I'm doing T-U now. Oh, now I'm on the R. Right, so this is where I went really wrong, and for some reason I couldn't get an R to look right, so I've done it there. I don't like the look of it, and I'm doing the E now just to finish off, and then I end up redoing the R, so I had to get another piece of that strip. So I had to get another piece of that strip and recut it again. So I think I did it twice more because I think I messed up the second one too. I don't think I've done it yet. So I'm just now going over with my black fine liner pen and giving an outline to my alphabets letters, and just going around the outside and putting in the middle details as well. So the D and the R needed middle sections, and the A, they needed middle sections, so just getting those done so that they look good. It just gives some extra definition. They did look okay on their own, but definitely needed that middle section. I decided that I wasn't going to cut those middle bits out. I could have done, but oh look, here I am messing around with the R because I really didn't like it. So basically I tried to tidy it up with scissors and it just didn't look right, so I had to do it again. I'm having a go now with the second piece, and I don't think I like that one either, so I'd have another go. And I've had to draw it on another piece of paper to see if I can get it right, and look at one from a different collection, an R alphabet letter. So I just couldn't get it right. Anyway, I'm just about happy with that one, and now putting my outline on there, and as I say, I think they do look good with the definition. My pen line is a really thin one, it's just 0.1, so it could have been a much thicker line if I'd gone for a thicker pen. But I was happy with that. I think it gives it enough definition. So now I can move on to the remainder of the layout. So now I'm trying to work out what I'm going to do with this layout. So I've got my my letters. I was thinking about where I'm going to put my medallion. Am I going to put it at the top or the bottom or the corner or the side or what? So I just played around with a few options. I didn't like the look of the letters on top of the dark medallion because they didn't show well enough. I felt that they needed to go onto white, or mostly onto white, so I couldn't, it took me a little while to get my head around what I was going to do, and then I decided to put some mixed media on the background, and then I changed my mind. I turned off the camera and spent 5 minutes working out what I was going to do, and I decided to go for the medallion in this bottom left corner, and then I can put the words adventure over on the right hand side. Now I had planned to stack my adventure, so it was ADV, then ENT, and then URE, but actually with the medallion it just didn't look right. There were two really huge elements, so the medallion is huge and the title is huge, my page is looking a bit too cluttered. I couldn't quite fit on adventure in the stacked design that I wanted, so I decided to go for 2 lines, so ADVEN, and then the next line TURE, and then I can tuck my photo in under the A and next to the T, yeah, it works better like that. It looks a lot better, and that gives me some white space along the bottom and the top edges as well, the whole thing just felt a bit more balanced. So that was how I got around that issue there. So you can see I've got my two photos. They're not the same photo, they're of the same event, but two separate shots. And I'm going to mount those onto some card or paper, and I'm just thinking about what my whole title is going to be. So obviously I have the word adventure, and I've got the word random there. Now this story that I'm telling here is about my little boy. He's nearly 2 and he is a total toddlersaurus, and he goes around and wrecks our house and pulls everything out of every drawer and every cupboard that he can find. The baby locks don't seem to stop him from getting into anything. Everything's baby locked and he seems to get through them anyway. He just pulls them off. So he's like the Incredible Hulk. Anyway, what will he be into today is the question, and my title is going to be Every Day is a Random Adventure, because it really is. You know, one day he could have pulled all the swimming stuff out of the cupboard, and the next day he would have emptied the shampoo bottle into the bath, and the next day he would have unrolled a whole roll of toilet paper, which in the current pandemic is not a great thing to be doing. So we currently lock all our bathroom doors from the outside so he can't get into them, but cupboards and drawers, it's just not possible to put baby locks on every single drawer and cupboard we have. So we've taken the stance of emptying all the cupboards and drawers and putting all the stuff in them in the loft that does have a baby lock on. Oh my word. Yeah, we're having fun and games at the moment, and yes, every day is a random adventure. You never know what you're going to get. So that's what this story is about. So I'm just using the word random from the ephemera pack, and this is where I lost a lot of the video, guys. I'm really sorry about that. So you saw how I put most of the layout together, but my embellishments I have done off camera because my battery died and I wasn't aware of that, unfortunately. But you can see I have a big cluster to the left hand side of the photo and then a few bits over on the right hand side. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you will give this technique a try of doing the hand cut letters. They were great fun to do, and I love the way they look. Don't forget that if you place an order via the Shimmerz store, put my name in the comments and you will receive a freebie. Thanks so much for joining me. That was Nikki Rowland for Shimmerz Paints.